In this video, I am going to show you the whole entire road trip we made in August of 2017 to find the best spot to see the solar eclipse, and we sure did. It is long, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. I'm riding with my RV, wherever I want to be. 'Cause I'm free in my RV, yeah. We say our goodbyes as we depart on this epic journey. At this point, we don't really know exactly where we'll end up. All we know is that our first few days will be in Georgia. Luckily, traffic is light on this Sunday morning. We are taking the fastest route, which is I-95 North, and then the Florida's Turnpike. After a couple of uneventful hours, we stop at the Fort Drum Service Plaza, one of the largest ones, to grab a bite to eat inside the RV, and also to put gas. As you can see, it is very crowded in here. At an average of 10 miles per gallon, our range is kind of limited to about 160 miles per fill-up. We of course get some rain along the way, why not? A few miles past Orlando, we decide to take a break from the turnpike and go to the highest point in the Florida Peninsula, not counting the Panhandle. It is called Sugarloaf Mountain, rising to a whopping 312 feet above sea level. And here we are, the views from the top, pretty good. Pretty cool, a little uncommon for Florida.
You see a little bit of the view there of that lake. So I suppose this is the tallest house in the Florida Peninsula. Not the Florida State, but the Florida Peninsula. Anyways, we continue.
Yeah, here we are, Sugarloaf Mountain. Even though to call it a mountain is a little bit of a stretch, perhaps. Off we go again, through this beautiful yet unusual part of Florida. At least unusual to us, from the southern portion of the state. There's this truck here to the left, not letting me change lanes. Kind of weird, and it turns out it is a fan, fellow RVer and fellow YouTuber Willie Montañez.
This guy, I've been following this guy for since I ever started RVing, and he passed me, and when I saw the back of your trailer, that's him! Yeah. That's Robert! We getting him! So I said, no way. Here you are. I cannot believe, bro.
Well, yeah, that was quite a coincidence, especially because we were talking about him just minutes before. Well, after a very long day, we made it to Georgia.
Okay, everybody, we are super tired. We've been driving all day, but check that out. Georgia on my mind. We made it to Georgia for the fourth time, I think, since we've had Minute in the trailer. Now, let's find some place to sleep. Well, we've arrived here at the Walmart in Valdosta. Let me show you what we've done. I turn on the generator because it is 90 degrees still. Well, it's 80 something this day. It sounds a little louder on the camera, I think, than what it really sounds. But there are two other people here. There's a camper van over there with the generator on. And there's a Class C motorhome over there with the generator on too. So I don't feel so bad. I'm not gonna run it too late, but I'm gonna run it at least until 10:30 or so.
Good morning from the Valdosta Walmart. We're going to continue on I-75. Every time I drive through here, I see all these signs advertising the Magnolia Plantation, so I figured this time I would stop by. It does kind of look like a plantation, doesn't it?
Okay, so we woke up at the Walmart, and now we stopped here, 40 miles north, at this place called Magnolia Plantations. There were like 100 signs on the road advertising it, and I've seen it every time I come to Georgia, so I wanted to check it out. So let's check it out. It seems to be a gas station and a plantation imitation. I don't know. We are at this town called El Dorado Omega, and there's even a fountain behind us. Pretty cool, huh?
Inside, as I suspected, it is just a store, selling Georgia goods like pecans and peanuts and peach preserves, but many unpronounceable ingredients, not to mention high fructose corn syrup, so I suspect all this stuff is mass-produced. We did get some peach-infused hot sauce. Hey, there's another fake plantation. After a little over 2 hours, we are descending upon Macon, Georgia. Our campground is the Al-Sihah Shrine RV Park. $32 per night, but if you have a Good Sam membership, it is only $16. Yeah, we finally make up our minds. Let's go to Macon. And here we are, Macon, the heart of Georgia. There are many historic buildings in the city, and the first one we're going to visit is the Hay House, which is almost like a small palace, completed in 1859 in the Italian Renaissance Revival style. On the bottom floor we see what used to be the summer dining room, and some memorabilia like a travel journal. Part of an elaborate ventilation system to keep the house somewhat cool in the summer. And the pantry, elevated from the floor to protect it from critters. What a great idea! Next, we go to the front porch.
That's the wine cellar?
That's the eye of the fish, and the center is the quartz opulence that holds a hard pine. They've been painted to look like aged bronze. They are 12 feet high, 6 inches thick, and 500 pounds apiece. Perfectly balanced on their original foot-long silver-plated hinges, painted to look like marble. This trompe-l'oeil was done for Mr. Johnston by a Swiss artist whose name was Auguste Trudeau. When he finished, he signed his work above the door back there and applied a layer of varnish over his work to protect it. Originally, they were burning coal in this house.
Most of the house is decorated in the style and period of the first family that inhabited the house, the Hay family. Apparently, they had a thing for pocket doors too. And this to the right is a fake door, made only for symmetry purposes. So much luxury and art on display, like this sculpture called Ruth Gleaning by American sculptor Randolph Rogers. More pocket doors. The house was very modern for its time. It even had an elevator, not to mention hot and cold running water and a pipe intercom system. Now on the second floor. Hey, check it out, the hidden secret room, which is actually pretty large. And that's what it looks like when it's closed. Up to the third floor, we are now sweating profusely, and they are working on some restoration up here. This room up here, it is actually decorated as it would have looked in the 1950s. what a great view we get from the top floor. This would have been great had they had air conditioning. Yeah, the majestic hay house. Let's continue exploring. Ever since we drove through Macon last year, I have been fixated on the architecture of this street called College Street. We were driving through and I saw all these antebellum-looking Greek revival structures and I wanted to check it out so bad. So here we are again, and I bet you we'll return later. Unfortunately, a lot of it is in disrepair. By the end of the street, we encountered the Rose Hill Cemetery, the oldest and largest one in the city. It is one of the most picturesque cemeteries I've ever seen. It almost reminds me of Roman ruins or something like that. It is actually the final resting place of over 1,000 Confederate soldiers, and several prominent political figures, and of course, the Allman Brothers. By the way, beyond that ridge, that's the Ocmulgee River, which we'll see later. Am I even supposed to be driving here? Let's get out, just in case. Such a historic city in so much disrepair. Almost every single house for rent, for lease, or for sale. In other words, vacant. And who would have thunk it? There's Cuban food in Macon. And there's the hay house again. Actually, let's go downtown. Passing by another famous building, the Cannonball House. Maybe we should have done that museum instead. It is so hot in Macon today. Here's another pretty famous landmark, the Grand Opera House, brought to you by Geico, I guess. Where's my cut? This is downtown Macon. There's the courthouse.
We are in a very historic neighborhood here in Macon. And this is a very historic restaurant called the Bear's Den. And there's a train going through right there.
Unfortunately, at this time, it was only open for to-go orders. And here to the left, there's another famous restaurant called H&H.
Turn right onto Plum Street.
We decide to go for the Ocmulgee Brew Pub. Not a very lively place, but the local brews are great. The poutine, meh. But the burger is pretty good. I gotta say, the place is pretty dead. There's also this place next door called the Barefoot Tavern. Another time, perhaps. We continue walking around a little bit, sweating profusely. A lot of businesses not in business. And these balconies next kind of remind me of San Francisco.
Cherry Street.
Oddly enough, you're supposed to park backwards in these diagonal spaces. And of course, not everybody follows the rules. And that was pretty much downtown in a nutshell. We continue. Our next point of interest is the Ocmulgee National Monument, which is a prehistoric American Indian site. There are supposed to be some ancient Indian mounds here, but the bugs are relentless and the heat unbearable, so we don't get to see much. There's Interstate 16. Yeah, it is a pretty long bridge. The Ocmulgee River down there. The railroad track. Here is the First Baptist Church, and here's the St. Joseph Catholic Church, which we'll revisit tomorrow. Right now, we are pretty tired, so we are going back home to the RV park.
We arrived here and there's a bunch of bugs. I'm gonna have to leave soon. It was incredibly hot inside that house. Even the guide was sweating profusely. I almost told her if she wanted to cancel the tour. It was really interesting. The house, it's the mansion as it was furnished throughout 3 different families along the course of 100 years. We had a good time here in Macon, Georgia. Tomorrow, I'm going to try to explore a little more in the morning, and then we're driving a little over 2 hours up to the Atlanta area. That's Minitini, back there.
Good morning once again. Let's explore Macon a little more, but first, let me mail some CDs and stickers too.
Okay, this right here is my office on the road, and I just got some Eclipse stamps, which are pretty cool because they change. I think with the heat, you can see the moon, but when it's cold in the air conditioning, they look black. Well, now they look, yeah, with the heat, they change colors. So they're pretty cool. I'm gonna be sending all the CDs and stickers. Well, the CDs, no, the stickers are gonna go with this commemorative stamps from now on.
Here we are by the historic Vineville neighborhood. So let's check out the Allman Brothers Museum while we're here.
We are in this residential neighborhood. Now we're gonna check out the house where the Allman Brothers used to live. This is the museum is closed, but I'm just gonna go check it out. I don't think they like me. And apparently this is it. Let's go to the big house. Okay, they seem to have like a guitar there. Just give you a peek inside the house, inside the museum. The Allman Brothers, the big house. Oh well, that's all I can show you, folks. Unfortunately, the museum is closed on Mondays, Tuesdays. Today is Tuesday, and on Wednesdays. So. Let me go back to the car. So many pretty houses here in Macon. This one looks very nice, but unfortunately a lot of them are in disrepair. Anyways, I'm gonna go through this side of the road now. Oh, very nice. This one is very, very well maintained. I have no idea what it is. Probably private. And there are my friends. Right there, and there's Kia over there.
we continue driving through the pretty historic neighborhoods. This right here, Bond Street, looks really cool. And to satisfy my fixation, once again, we're going to cruise along College Street one more time. Good thing there is plenty of parking. And we park in front of this building called the Center for Strings. I just love that Greek revival architecture with the frieze, the Corinthian columns. Right next to it, there's this large apartment building called the Massey. Yeah, it is pretty massive. Let's continue exploring. We've been looking for this trail called the River Walk since yesterday, actually, and I think I found it on the GPS. We're crossing the Ocmulgee River one more time, and here we are.
Well, this is Riverside, and this is some piece of art here. It's called Chewy by one John Clement. Very cool. Let's go see the river.
We keep wondering what's that tower over there, so more exploring is in order. And what are all these little bugs? River bugs? I should really brush up on my entomology. There's a resident here of the Ocmulgee River. Actually, let's cross to the other side, and we see some other permanent residents. This here is called the Ocmulgee Heritage Trail. Probably pretty cool for jogging, but today is actually probably too hot for anything. Well, that was it. Riverside, in a nutshell. So let's go see what that pretty tower is. Let's investigate. Hey, there's the Hay House once again, so we must be on the right track. Okay, this is a parking lot. This back alley looks actually promising. And here we are.
Okay, this is called In Town, Macon. And we just stumbled upon this neighborhood, and this is part of the university. Very cool. And we also get pretty decent views of the city from here. It's Hay House right there.
By the way, this is the Coleman Park Hill, and that's a very nice private residence.
I bet you they got a nice view from there.
For whom the bells toll. Such a beautiful day. Wow, is it 11 a.m. already? We have to go soon. There's a nice view of the Macon skyline from here.
Wish we had time to sit down at a bench. Enjoy the city's skyline from here.
Let's check out this building here. The Greek Revival structure is the Woodruff House, and this is Mercer University's School of Law. Such a majestic looking building. Let's explore a little more. A very nice way to study law, if you ask me. So much history here. There's the Cannonball House. In hindsight, I think we should have visited this one instead of the Hay House, but now we don't have the time.
Cannonball House.
Yeah, this one seems to be more established as a museum, I guess. Well, maybe we'll find an excuse to return to Macon sometime. Our next and final point of interest here is the St. Joseph Catholic Church, so let's park. There's the First Baptist Church, and here's St. Joseph's. Let's step inside. Very beautiful inside. It actually has 60 stained glass windows. The church has undergone many renovations. For example, the current altar only dates back to 2006. The Great Dome rises 125 feet above the floor. Here's another look at one of the stained glass windows. The original organ, a contraption by Pilcher & Sons of Louisville, Kentucky, was replaced after 80 years, back in 1985, but they kept some of the original parts from the 1903 original. Well, there you have it. The foundation was laid in 1889, and the building was completed in 1903. Now, who wants to go to Atlanta? We pick up Minitini, and off we go towards the Atlanta area. It is a fairly uneventful 2-hour drive along the rolling hills of central Georgia. Here we are, Stone Mountain Park. The campground is another 1.5 miles or so into the park. Very nice campground. Here's our site.
Well, we have arrived, and check this out. I haven't even had time to finish hooking up all the hookups, because I want to show you guys. We are here at Stone Mountain Campground, and let me be careful because there's a big, a ravine behind me. This is beautiful, beautiful. We are right by the lake, right here at Stone Mountain Park. Right now, we're gonna spend some time with the family here near Atlanta, but tomorrow I'm gonna show you the whole park, or maybe the surroundings. I have no idea what we're gonna do. But here, check it out, the mountain. You can see it back there. It's pretty cool, huh? Okay, one more view from the other side. And this is the campground, which is, to be honest about it, is kind of half empty. But check it out, this is our trailer, right here. And this is gonna be our view tonight. We're gonna be sitting here, looking at the lake, sipping some wine, and with the mountain. Stone Mountain right next to us.
my brother-in-law, Pepe, is here to pick us up for lunch with the family. After a late lunch, he invites us to go for a hike in one of his favorite parks, Bethesda Park. You know, burn up some of those calories. This particular trail is 1.5 miles, all paved and overall very pleasant. Seems to be very popular with the locals. Well, we still got a long way to go. Are those spider webs? It is a very pleasant afternoon here in this wooded area. We emerge by this pond with all these ducks. Now that we've done some exercise, let's go have some ice cream. This area of Gwinnett County is known as K-Town because of the large Korean community that lives here, and we're going to have some Korean-style rolled ice cream. It is very cool how they make it right there in front of you. It is really good ice cream, and it was a fun afternoon catching up with the family. As night falls, we go back to Stone Mountain.
Good morning. This is the view from our window.
Well, now that I am fully awake, good morning. It is very nice out here, very peaceful.
Let me show you our view again.
Let's take the short path down to the river, actually the lake. Much better view of the mountain from down here. The mountain is actually made out of quartz monzonite. There's an aerial tram that goes all the way to the summit and also a trail, but we are going to do neither. We went to the top last time we were here. I'll put a link to that video. I could stay here all day. And there's the tram coming down. It is a nice sight, isn't it? Let's walk around the campground like we usually do.
That's an old GMC, no?
By the way, the campground is huge. There's one of the camp hosts.
This is our loop.
Let's unhitch and go for a ride around the park. There is this covered bridge dating back to 1892, which originally spanned the Oconee River in Athens, Georgia.
We should write our names. Forever immortalized in the wood.
There's the whole explanation. Feel free to pause the video. Yeah, very pretty. I love these old covered bridges. We decided to walk on this trail here a little bit.
Big shroom.
We continue towards the quarry exhibit, which tells the story of an industry that played a significant part in the history of Stone Mountain. And here's the grist mill, dating back to 1869, its original site near Ellijay, Georgia. After passing by the inn, we decide to go explore the Stone Mountain village, which is just outside the park going through the west entrance. It actually looks like a very nice neighborhood. Here we are by Main Street. Let's find somewhere to eat, or rather drink. Actually, we're thirsty. Here it is. Village Corner German Restaurant, Bakery and Tavern. But they had me at Brewpub.
German Bakery and Tavern. Let's check it out. There's a historic cemetery or something.
I have the Oktoberfest.
Oktoberfest.
And this also happens to be the Stone Mountain Brewery. Always looking forward to a good local craft beer. We return to the campsite and Pepe is already waiting for us to continue exploring the park together. There we can see some yurts that are actually part of the campground. Maybe we can go see them later. We passed by the Marriott Hotel just to see it. It is pretty much deserted. Actually, I almost forgot to mention, but a viewer recognized me as we were walking down the hallway. That was so cool.
Hello, ducklings.
We see the Caroline. Actually, this is the area where they rent the e-bikes and they do Segway tours and all that. Next on the list, the Historic Square, which is actually a pretty cool collection of old original Georgia buildings that they have moved here. We check in at the Maddox General Store from circa 1830. Next, we have the Allen House, circa 1845, which was in a 300-acre plantation. Here's the dining room and the parlor. Most of the windows still preserve the original handmade glass. Here's the master bedroom, the children's bedroom. And it looks like they weaved their own fabrics. Pretty cool, pretty well preserved actually. There's the storage crib and the well. The next house is Dr. Chapman's Powell's Cabin from 1826. The Thornton House from 1792, perhaps the oldest one here. That's pretty innovative for the time.
Great technology.
According to the pamphlet, this one is built in the federal style, which means brick walls covered in wood siding, outside. Very interesting to see how people lived in a different era. Next we have a slave cabin from around 1830. And here's another one. We also see the barn, and let's see what it looks like inside. And next we have the farmyard, a part of which is like a petting zoo, probably very popular with the little ones. And you say bah? The coach house and the smoke house. There's even a vegetable garden, organic I'm sure, and this is called the necessary house. All these houses had a separate building for cooking, to reduce the risk of fire and to remove the smells from the house. And here's the pièce de résistance at the Davis house from 1856. It is amazing how they were able to move all these large buildings here. Here's a picture of Mr. Davis, the former owner of the house. And it looks like he liked music, lots of instruments. Here's something called the washroom. And here's the girls' bedroom. Yeah, that's us. And this room here, this is the dining room. The table dating back to the 1700s.
And we exit through the lower floor, the back of the house.
By the way, they do rent this backyard for weddings and events like that. It is a nice venue for that, actually. Well, that was a very nice self-guided tour, if I may say so myself. I was pleasantly surprised. I didn't think I was gonna like it as much as I did. And there's Stone Mountain.
And the schoolhouse.
Last but not least, we have the old Powell Academy schoolhouse. Yeah, the school from DeKalb County, circa 1875. How things have changed. There's the old piano and the tiny blackboard. Hey, and that's me. We are now at the Discovering Stone Mountain Museum. From here, you can see the best view of the somewhat controversial, I guess, Confederate memorial. It is the largest bas-relief sculpture in the world, depicting President Jefferson Davis and Generals Robert E. Lee and Thomas J. Stonewall Jackson on horseback. There have actually been proposals to remove the carving from Stone Mountain, but it is protected by Georgia state law for now. And this building here is the Confederate Hall Historical and Environmental Education Center. And now here we are by the trailhead, the beginning of the trail that goes all the way to the top of the rock. Shall we do it? Okay, maybe next time. Hey, check out the Carillon. Back in the campground, we check out the yurts. We wanted to see one of them inside, but they all seem to be locked. Yeah, we checked. It is our last sunset here in Georgia. Very beautiful. Tomorrow we continue towards Tennessee. And who knows where else? Well, you know. Uh-oh, we've got rain.
Here, our first big downpour of the road trip. It is coming down. Got a new neighbor. Good morning from Stone Mountain. It's a very wet night. And now we're leaving. Soon.
We have enjoyed our stay here in Georgia tremendously and reluctantly leave this beautiful campground. Before we go, keep in mind that many of the Stone Mountain attractions only open on weekends. So there's a bunch of stuff that we wanted to do, like riding the scenic railroad or the dog tours, and they weren't available during our stay. We continue, bearing northwest towards the Path of Totality. We circumvent Atlanta here, although we still get a little bit of traffic. We're going to stop here at this rest area just 9 miles before Calhoun to make a quick lunch, one of those delicious, simple meals you can make on the road.
Well, hello everybody. Today we're gonna prepare a dish that is very easy to prepare, and since we are right now at the rest area, it's perfect, like just to throw something together real quick. And when you are on the road, we're gonna make my version or our version of the Spanish dish called garbanzo frito, which is just fried chickpeas. So we have some canned chickpeas here that we put on this container. And here we have some cubed ham, some serrano ham, which is a Spanish version of prosciutto, and some salami and Spanish chorizo. And we're gonna season it with some cilantro, some paprika, smoked paprika, and some oregano and some cumin. Very important, the cumin.
If you want to see the whole process, with details, I will put a link to that video, of my upcoming RV cooking show.
That was a filling meal, but they don't have coffee at this place. It is time to hit the road again.
You saw what that guy did? Good thing I still have pretty good reflexes, huh? I mean, I know some truckers don't really like RVers, but that was uncalled for. Next up, the Tennessee Welcome Center. We are approaching Chattanooga, although we are not stopping this time. We wish. There's Lookout Mountain, which we actually had planned to visit. The Tennessee River to our right. The plan is actually to stay at Marion County Park, which we discovered during last year's road trip. It is right on the bank of the Tennessee River and a very short distance from Interstate 24. By the way, I-24 dips briefly back into Georgia here and then back into Tennessee. Here we are, driving around the campground, looking for the office. Pretty nice, huh? Here we are, we found it. Here's our waterfront site, or so we think.
Check it out, that right there, that's the Tennessee River. We are staying here at Marion County Park. And check it out, somebody just said lower their boat into the river. We discovered this place last year while we were staying. Actually, you can't see it, but it's right there, that peninsula over there. That's the Welcome Center, the Tennessee Welcome Center. And we saw the campground from there and we said, that place looks neat. So yeah, it is hot in Tennessee. As I said, the name of this idyllic place is Marion Park, Marion County Park, right here. It's near the border with Georgia. In fact, our phones still show Eastern time instead of Central time, but it's very nice, very neat. We're gonna stay here just one night and then we continue on our journey northwest, I guess. Let's see if we can go to a winery or to the Incline Railway, we don't know, or Ruby Falls. It's getting late, so we might just stay here and relax and enjoy this magnificent scenery.
Yeah, apparently I spoke too soon. Just as we finished getting settled here, the camp host came by apologizing because apparently my site had been reserved by someone else. Our new neighbor seems like a nice guy, very talkative, obviously a frequent camper here, with the heaviest, almost incomprehensible southern drawl. Maybe it's just me, I'm concentrating here on hooking up the trailer, and a little upset about our impromptu move, I'll be honest about it. Okay, this is actually turning out to be a little more of an ordeal than expected. Our new site, it is very off-level. And I find out after unhitching, so I hitch again, put on the leveling Legos, under the wheels, back and unhitch again, and then boom! Minitini just fell off the leveler. I'm glad it didn't roll back all the way to the river, actually. I need a drink. Speaking of that, I think I mentioned that there is a winery nearby. The winery, aptly named the Lookout Winery, is perched on top of this hill. Yep, all the way up here. They are supposed to have really good pizza too, that they cook in these 800 degrees wood-fired ovens with imported ingredients and all that. First, let's look for the tasting room.
They have breakfast pizza.
Here we are, so let's engage in this very organized way to get drunk, also called a wine tasting. After the tasting, we decide to have dinner al fresco out here. From up here, supposedly you can see 3 states: Tennessee, where we are, Georgia, and Alabama. I was looking at the map and yeah, probably that second ridge is in Georgia, and Alabama you can probably see far in the distance. The owner, apparently a descendant from a Roman family, uses the traditional techniques to make their wine, which is actually very nice. Their Tuscan-style Sangiovese is magnificent. Besides seeing the three states, the balcony is also a good spot to enjoy the sunset.
The second mountain is Georgia.
Is it from your bank?
And the third one is Alabama.
My bank card breaks all the time.
About that.
It's just
And
my
the
bank
sun
card. It's like
is
all my
just
other credit
setting.
cards, they're fine. I've had all my credit cards for like 4 years. My bank card though.
We're waiting for our pizza.
And the pizza finally arrives. Salud. Bon appetit. Salud again. Okay, let's enjoy that view one last time.
Well, it is time to go.
Started laughing because she thought of Christmas full of buckets.
Well, she texted me this morning. I'm on the way to work, so I called her. I was like, what? She's like, what's that joke that you left with us like that?
It looks like they were expecting a lot more people. Good morning from Marion County Park in Jasper, Tennessee. Actually, let me show you all this from a different perspective. Light green area down there, that lawn, that's part of the Tennessee Welcome Center. And standing there is how we discovered this campground. Well, as much as we liked this place, we have an eclipse to catch. And we still, at this point, haven't totally discarded the Nebraska option. That would be a long way. So, west, northwest we go. But before we go, we need to make a dump. This looks like the dump station, only that it is not. Okay, this is it, but we are now facing the wrong way. Well, I'm actually getting pretty good at backing this thing up. The landscape becomes increasingly beautiful as we enter the Tennessee Appalachians. The next portion of the road will be the most difficult part of this entire trip so far, particularly for old Kia, our tow vehicle. This is supposed to be one of the most treacherous stretches of the interstate highway system, particularly in bad weather. Good thing today is sunny. We have to climb Mount Eagle Mountain, as it is known locally here in the Tennessee Appalachians. It is a 4-mile stretch with grades of 5 and 6%. It is technically not a mountain since it is part of the Cumberland Plateau, but it sure feels like a mountain to me, and to old Kia for sure, grinding in low gear all the way to the top. Although we don't want to lose momentum, we have to slow down to about 40 miles per hour to prevent the engine from overheating too much. Yay, we made it. Let's take a break. Do you see that arrow on the floor? Well, I'm glad you did, because I sure didn't. Yep, that just happened. We went the wrong way into the Wendy's drive-thru. Good thing I'm starting to get really good at backing this thing up. Perhaps I'm a little more tired than I thought. Let's break for lunch here at the truck stop. Well, the way down is supposed to be even more dangerous than the way up, so I'll just shift to low gear and try not to gain too much momentum. As we go into the path of totality, we start seeing signs about the solar eclipse. And there is Nashville. Man, I wish I could stay here for a couple of days. We really like this city. The last time we were here, it was just too short, too rushed. Let's take a break here by the small city of Pleasantville, Tennessee. Check the weather forecast, reassess our travel plans. It is looking actually more and more like Nebraska will not be the best place to see the solar eclipse. The forecast calls for cloudy weather, so we decided to stop at Hopkinsville, Kentucky instead. We make it to the Kentucky state line, and I decide to take a fresh new picture with the state sign. We also decide to stop by the Visitors Center, get some info about the area and the upcoming solar eclipse. Is that a cool plane or what? It must be landing at the Army installation nearby Fort Campbell. We arrive at the Walmart Supercenter here in Hopkinsville, Kentucky, with every intention of spending the night. It is, after all, one of those Walmarts marked in yellow in the All Stays app, and those are usually okay to park overnight. But we called and they said no. In fact, we called every single Walmart nearby and got the same answer. I'm sure that this being a prime location to watch the solar eclipse had to have something to do with it. But now, what do we do? Well, let's park, regroup, and think about this. It is such a beautiful day, isn't it? But it's even more beautiful now because we found somewhere to stay. It turns out that there's a KOA called Prizer Point in this area called the Kentucky Lakes that has vacancy. We actually had to call, and there is a minimum of 4 nights, which is perfect. It was $300. Exactly the time we need, by the way. This area encompasses Kentucky Lake, Lake Barkley, and an island called the Land Between the Lakes. An area completely unknown to us. We had no idea. And we are always eager and excited to explore somewhere new. And it is such a beautiful drive. Watch out for deer though, if you're driving around here. They can jump in front of your car when you least expect it. Come on, little one, you can cross too. They must be expecting a lot of people because they have someone out here to greet us. Of course, we are not on the list since we made the reservation about an hour ago. So he calls the office asking for instructions and directs us to check in at the main office. Here we have to explain again. We are directed to this new area called The Ridge that I suspect they built especially for this event. This is actually perfect. Lots of room, open skies, and now we have 2 whole days to kill here. We are going to take advantage of our time though and take it slow, explore the whole area. I think I forgot to turn off the GoPro. Well, first things first, we've arrived hungry from the long trip, so let's drive down to the marina area where they have a restaurant. This is very nice. It looks like they have boats for rent. This floating building here seems to be the campground store and the restaurant, so let's go in and check it out. In typical KOA fashion, very well stocked convenience store, and the restaurant has all-you-can-eat catfish. But the 3-piece platter is plenty for us. They have all these paddle boats here, free of charge for guests of the campground, so maybe we'll hop into one of these before we leave. Well, that's an RV with a view, if there was ever one. View of the beautiful sunset about to happen. This right here is Lake Barkley, which is part of the Cumberland River. And the Kentucky Lake, on the other side of that island, is a part of the Tennessee River, and at one point it was the largest man-made lake in the world. It is boaters' paradise around here. Can't wait to explore the area tomorrow. Where we ate. It's a floating restaurant. Good night. And good morning. I wake up early to fly the drone and show you the immediate area around us. The landmass across Lake Barkley is an island called the Land Between the Lakes National Recreation Area. That's the marina down there where we were last night. And this is the area here where we are. Still almost empty for some reason. Okay, let's explore by land now. Our first point of interest will be the nearby town of Cadiz. They have this farmers market, and they have some activities planned for the Eclipse as well, like concerts and such. The town is also famous for its antique shops. Let's check out these Cherokee antiques, and I wonder what's up with all the pigs around. My grandma used to have one of these. I wonder if this microphone works, for the podcast. Actually, these last few shots have been from another antique shop next door called the Katie's Antique Mall, situated where the old Katie's Hotel used to be. Well, it still works.
Welcoming visitors, but also taking time to see the eclipse from the point of greatest totality.
Well, if you've seen enough antiques, we'll continue. Cool, the church has a carillon. It looks like perhaps we are a little bit too late for the farmers market.
Well, here we are in Cadiz, Kentucky, and the farmers market just closed. They apparently, as I was saying, the farmers market was only 7 till noon, and it's just noon right now. So we couldn't check it out, but those antique shops were really nice. Let's continue exploring.
Well, if we hadn't spent that much time in the antique shops, we would have been able to see the farmers market, maybe buy something.
Well, this is downtown. This is the Justice Center. Very nice. And this is our car.
Nice, quaint little town. Cadiz. There are some historic homes here on Main Street. The most famous one is this last one called the Fairholme Historic House. And they even offer tours of the house, by appointment only. This one is nice too. It also looks like they are going to have an antique car show here in this parking lot. Don't forget the historic cemetery. Let's cross the Cumberland River, as I said, also known as Lake Barkley. And on the other side, here we have it. The land between the lakes. There's an area where supposedly you can see elk and bison, but we came through the wrong entrance. This is the wildlife viewing area, but it is overcrowded and it seems kinda lame, so we're gonna continue. Besides, we're getting hungry. You know what? Let's be adventurous. Let's get on one of these dirt roads, see where it leads. We're going into the unknown, literally off the beaten track. And this is probably one of the longer and most desolated ones, of these dirt roads around here. We end up at this campsite right here by Pisgah Bay. I can't believe that travel trailer made it all the way here on that dirt road. And there's a bunch of people here, some tent camping. The campground is called Pisgah Point, And next time, I might come with Minitini.
Yeah, that was very cool down there, but you know what's really cool? This old cemetery. And this one is called the Lee Cemetery. Let me see if I can show you from up here. Yeah.
Actually, in the video, the road doesn't look nearly as bad, but it is bad. Lots of washboard. Yes, finally, pavement. We're going to cross the Barkley Canal here, and by now we are really hungry, and we've heard of this place called Patty's in Grand Rivers. It comes highly recommended, not only by my cousin Juan from Louisville, who did recommend it, but also by many of you who follow me on social media.
Let's go to Patty's.
It is not just a restaurant. It is called Patty's 1880s Settlement, and it is this whole touristy complex with touristy shops, and apparently very popular.
We haven't been around here yet.
It looks like they also do weddings and other events here. Yes, this place is very, very large. It is supposed to be a recreated historical log cabin village.
Oh, it's hot in Kentucky today. By the way, the place feels a little bit like a tourist trap, but it comes highly recommended, so I'm gonna check it out. Look, there's like a little fountain there. And the lady at Patty's, the waiting time is like forever. But she said that the Bill's, I think, Mr. Bill's is the same food, and it's only 20 minutes, so that's what we're gonna eat. Old-time photos.
Yeah, it's definitely a textbook tourist trap. I mean, they even have panning for gold. And I'm starving.
Chapel, yes.
Here's the chapel, and here they have a shrine dedicated to the late Bill and Patty, the founders of this place back in 1977. It was originally a hamburger and ice cream parlor. Well, I think it is almost time to eat. We begin with the soup and what looks like a bread in a flower pot. Let me show you. And it comes with strawberry butter. Very strange. And their famous pork chops. Very tasty, very juicy. Although we actually got the smaller one. They have one that is twice as thick.
He's looking at me.
Well, that was a filling meal. Full belly, happy heart. Let's continue. Someday we will explore Grand Rivers, population less than 400, in more detail, but some other time. Let's go see this marina here real quick at the Lighthouse Landing. Hey, they have an RV park. This is actually Kentucky Lake, created by the Kentucky Dam on the Tennessee River. This is the other lake. There must be something dead nearby.
Chanquete.
Okay, let's continue. This right here is called Canal Overlook, and I guess it is a nice place for locals to come, relax, see the boats sail by. This channel connects Lake Barkley with Kentucky Lake, which, as I said, are artificial lakes created on the Cumberland and Tennessee rivers respectively. We are going to call it a day, return to the campground, and we will continue exploring tomorrow. Is it me, or this area of Kentucky is just lovely? Listen to the cicadas as the sun goes down over Lake Barkley.
Good morning. From the land between the lakes, sort of. Last night I had my camera out, and it got all wet.
Beautiful morning. Let's go try a paddle boat.
They're not very well maintained.
Well, yeah, the boats are dirty and it is all full of dead bugs from last night and spider webs and spiders. Yeah, the spiders are very much alive.
We're exploring.
This here is a road that goes kind of, sort of on the hills behind the campground. We saw it from the campground. Hey, check it out. There's the campground and there's Minitini.
That's us.
Let's check out this Eddy Creek Marina and Resort. The thing with all these marinas is that they all look almost the same. The same with the lakes. They are all very pretty. But I mean, don't get me wrong, but it is all very similar.
The lodge here at this marina.
There has been a lot of talk about how heavy traffic is going to be because of the upcoming eclipse on Monday. Here's my traffic report.
And the traffic report so far, it's not very much traffic at all, even though they have these signs that say heavy traffic. But so far, I-24 looks clear on Sunday afternoon. Parking for the eclipse.
We are now by the city of Eddyville, and it looks like they are ready for the rest of the eclipse chasers coming here tomorrow. Next, let's go check out the city of Catawba, which together with Eddyville had to be moved in 1960 when they built the dam on the Cumberland River, creating Lake Barkley. Let's check out this scenic overlook here. The ruins of the original Catawba remain underwater, although when Lake Barkley reaches winter pool each fall, the remains of old Catawba, Kentucky emerge. By the way, this is all part of the new Catawba. We are now going towards the Catawba Harbor Marina. And these historic houses here to the left, probably some of them were moved here from the area now at the bottom of the lake. To the right here we have the marina, and this pretty famous bar and restaurant called Hubie's. But we're not in the mood right now, so we'll visit some other time. And this here is part of Vista Ridge Park, and they even have a little beach, so let's check it out. Oh no, you have to pay. Plan B.
Oh, here we are in the historic town of Catawba. And this is the Catawba recreation area, Lake Barkley. And these people are pretty strict about alcohol around here. Anyways, we're gonna continue exploring this area of western Kentucky. We're gonna go to the Kentucky Dam soon. Hello, Bambi.
We continue west on Highway 62 towards the Kentucky Dam, passing by Lake City, and I wanted to show you here to the right what on the satellite view looks like a massive mine or a quarry, you know, big hole on the earth. It's called Vulcan Materials, but there's no way I can get a better look. It is all fenced up. Well, here we are. To our left, the Kentucky Dam. You know what's kind of freaky? When you see how much higher the water level on the lake is, how much water is actually being contained by this concrete structure. Now, driving on top of the dam, let's park and visit the visitor center.
Well, here we are at the Kentucky Dam. This looks like one of the turbines that makes the electricity. Yeah, the turbine. A cog in the wheel, and maybe they should replace this.
The dam was built during the late 1930s and early 1940s, and apparently the main purpose was to reduce flooding downriver, you know, in the Ohio and Mississippi rivers. It also produces hydroelectric power, of course, and the Kentucky Lake, the largest artificial lake nowadays in the eastern United States. This is the Tennessee River, which 22 miles downstream joins the Ohio River by the city of Paducah, which we are going to visit next actually. And eventually the Ohio River joins the Mississippi in Cairo, Illinois. Okay, let's head out to Paducah now, our final destination for the day. Here we are, downtown Paducah. Let's find the parking and see what this city has to offer. Decisions. Where should I park? First thing we see are all these murals here in front of the river, right by the confluence of the Tennessee and the Ohio rivers.
And that's the Tennessee River. This is the historic riverfront. On the right, the Tennessee River. On the left, the Ohio River. And on the other side, it's Illinois. Port of Paducah, Kentucky. Welcome.
This old locomotive here, I guess it is part of the Paducah Railroad Museum.
The big steam engine.
I love all this old technology. And I guess steam engines were state-of-the-art around 1850 or so, right? These murals here, by the way, are on the flood wall, and it began in 1996 by Louisiana artist Robert Dulford. And the project has been growing ever since, and it is nowadays one of the top tourist attractions here in town.
Each one of these has a story.
Let's walk around downtown a little bit. I know there are a couple of museums here in the city and other things to see, but we want to get something light to eat, and if you know me by now, a good local IPA. As I've said, I find these small city downtowns very, very picturesque.
Best choice is Shady's.
Actually, the name of the place is Shandy's, and it is quite nice, actually. The name derives from their signature drink, which is a shandy, which is a beer mixed with a soft drink, except that here they put hard liquor into it, too.
This has vodka, bourbon, scotch, shock top, Stella, and lemon juice.
Yeah, a pretty potent drink, if I may say so myself. So we also ordered the cat cakes.
These are the cat cakes. Well, that drink was called the Royal Shandy, and that's because we were at Shandy. And actually, I was pleasantly surprised with this Paducah downtown. That's a sculpture of a buffalo right there. And now we're gonna just get to the car and get back to the campground. Came to get some pizza, and it's almost time for the sunset. Well, good morning, everybody, from Prizer Lake campground here. Prizer Point, KOA. As you can see, either they failed to sell every single spot, or some people haven't shown up yet. But it is a beautiful morning here in Western Kentucky, and if the weather holds up, we're gonna have a beautiful solar eclipse. This is our site here. I'm gonna set up my cameras and all that right here. We're gonna start seeing what they call first contact in about a few minutes. So we're gonna be able to see the eclipse, and I'm ready with. You can't see anything, but these are my Eclipse glasses. Everybody, it has begun. I'm doing a time lapse here. I don't know if you can see it. Maybe not. Yeah, you cannot focus. There's a little piece of sun missing. Let me see. I'm gonna put the Eclipse glasses on my camera, and let's see if I can zoom in and show you guys what it's like down here. No, it doesn't really want to focus. I don't know why. Okay, it's now approximately 12:14, and let me see if I can show you what the camera is seeing here. There you see. I'm getting a little worried about these clouds that might interfere with our viewing experience. I put an electric tape on my lens because my camera was going out of focus by itself. That's what it looks like right now. Amazing. We're about halfway there. It's 12:48, so in about 15 minutes. Very eerie looking. There it is, almost totality. About 15 minutes to totality. And everything is taking this weird color. Look at the clouds over there. The clouds are like red around the sun. It's very, very weird. Because there's just a sliver of sun coming through. And this is full lit up, and it looks kind of...
If you look closely to the floor, we can start to see the shadow bands, apparently caused by atmospheric turbulence, the same phenomenon that makes the stars twinkle.
20 seconds.
Guys, the camera doesn't do it justice. You can see, like, penumbra all around us. It's like sunset all around us. It's incredible. Oh, it's over.
Wow, that was amazing. Can't wait for April 8th, 2024. We'll have the next one. And I do want to return to this area also sometime. Next time, perhaps with a little more planning beforehand, more prior research. Maybe we'll finally see the bison in the land between the lakes. So we came up with this crazy idea to continue west towards Arkansas and eventually Texas, add a couple more states to our sticker map. Quick note to the state of Tennessee, maybe you should trim that tree.
Welcome to Tennessee.
Bye-bye, VW Bus. And this to the right is a Goodyear plant. The funky-looking building is called Discovery Park America. It seems to be a pretty cool museum, encompassing pretty much everything. We should visit next time. We're riding into the sunset. And there it is, the bridge over the mighty Mississippi. For the second time in its existence, Minitini the trailer will cross west of the Mississippi, where TV and radio stations call letters begin with a K. Yeah, fun fact. But wait, let me go back.
Mississippi River. For the second time, we are taking Minitini west of the Mississippi. Missouri state line. Oh, Missouri. I thought we were going to Memphis. Missouri? Are we in Missouri? I'm confused.
Welcome to Missouri.
Yeah, we're in Missouri. Wow. I thought we were going into Arkansas.
Well, yeah, small navigational error. As it turns out, we are near Caruthersville, Missouri, and there is a casino nearby called Lady Luck, and they have an RV park. And while there is a boondocking area, they do have full hookups for $40, and it is like $32 and change with our Good Sam membership.
Good morning from the west bank of the Mississippi River. Last night we stayed at this casino. We stayed here at the RV park at the Lady Luck Casino, which is like this old steamboat on the Mississippi River. Not much of a casino, but they have a steakhouse that is closed today, and they also have, well, a full hookup RV park. The smoked filled casino was fine, like any other casino. And the RV park was nice, quiet. Half of the people have already left. There's like only 4 of us here, and these guys on the Super C are leaving soon, and I think we're leaving soon after. Well, I guess we're going back to Nashville.
Did I say Nashville? Well, yeah, we decided to go back east. Here's the thing, as much as we would like to check Arkansas and Texas off the list, it is going to be a lot of driving without seeing much. And we have to get back to Florida at some point, so yeah, we're a little discombobulated, a little ADD at this point, making it up as we go. Maybe we will do Gatlinburg and the Smoky Mountains, maybe we'll skip that altogether and do Asheville. We'll see. It is one of the most uneventful, boring drives in recent memory. Outside of Florida, that is. We crossed the Tennessee River for the 3rd time in our trip. This section of I-40 here between Memphis and Nashville is called the Music Highway because of the rich musical history of this area. Okay, here's the plan, or lack thereof. We are going to get off the interstate here and go to this restaurant that for some reason I have it saved on my Google map. No, don't know why really. It is here just southwest of Nashville and it's called Loveless Cafe. They're supposed to have a pretty large overflow parking lot. I don't think it shows well on the GoPro footage, but we're going through some pretty steep hills and windy roads here. And here we are. Let's see how I can park this thing. It doesn't look very RV friendly, does it? It is times like this when I wish I had a Class B or B+. I just hope that there is a place to turn around back there. Here we go, found it. Let's be honest, the place feels a little tourist-trappy with the gift shop and the country market, but let's check it out anyways. I have no idea how I heard about it. Are you sitting down? The wait time is 90 minutes. Most people turn away, but we're staying.
These are the famous biscuits.
Yazoo Pale Ale.
Local brew.
That's the barbecue pulled pork. And here's the barbecue chicken.
About this place, Loveless Cafe. It's not bad, but is it worth the 90-minute wait? Probably not. I mean, the barbecue pork was fine. The barbecue chicken was okay. The hash brown casserole was fantastic. But I wouldn't wait 90 minutes again.
Okay, on the road again. This around here is a very upscale neighborhood called Belle Mead, and there's a plantation too. And check it out, there's a post office. Let me see if I can go around. I need to mail some stickers and CDs. Check out all these ritzy mansions here to the right, and the golf course to the left. Okay, let's mail some CDs and stickers. Always a challenge parking this thing, but it's only a couple of minutes. Maybe here it won't bother anybody. Okay, now that I'm editing the video and looked at the map, perhaps we should have kept going through this street. We would have ended up at the Music Row, a neighborhood of Nashville that I really want to revisit at some point. But first, it would have been really nearly impossible to park with the trailer in tow. And second, we're just too eager to continue. Nashville will still be there next time we come this way. We continue. Destination, Appalachians, Asheville eventually. Once again, we make the steep climb to the top of the Cumberland Plateau and our campground, the Davy Crockett. Very nice wooded area. Just not the easiest of backing sites.
Well, it's been a long driving day. As you know, we have not really set plans, and we changed plans like 3 times along the way. But here we are now at the Dave Crockett campground. We are very close to the Smoky Mountains. This is located 2,000 feet above sea level, and it's very nice indeed. There's a little bit of mosquitoes, but we're gonna walk around the campground now and see how it is. As you can see, our site is huge. Look at that. It's fantastic. We're tired. It's almost 7 p.m. so maybe tomorrow we'll get to enjoy some of the amenities. It has a heated pool, I think.
Very nice campsite. Hey, there's an old 1970s GMC motorhome. Well, that was a classic right there. There's the restaurant and our source of the all-important Wi-Fi. It's in there.
And the pool.
The pool is quite nice too, and even has like this little bar. I don't really know when they open though. Someone mentioned on social media that this used to be a nudist camp in the past. And it could be, it is secluded enough, but I did some research actually, and apparently someone purchased the adjoining property on the other side of the lake and opened it as the Cherokee Garden of Eden. But the campground, Davy Crockett, sued them because it would not be good for a family campground to have visible naked people right next door. In the morning, I grilled some steaks, marinated in some leftover honey bourbon we bought in Kentucky and didn't like. I spend most of the day editing videos with a view. And we walk around the campground, a lot of older RVs here. Okay, let's face it, it is very nice campground. All family run, by the way. Let's fly the drone. Actually, I am a little disappointed with the view from above the treetops. I thought I'd see like more mountains. You see, we've climbed all these steep hills to get here and now nothing. I guess that's why they call it a plateau. This is the hot top building. The hot tub. In the afternoon, we don't feel like cooking, so we are going to make some mac and cheese with bacon.
Bon appetit!
As the day comes to an end, we make a raging fire. With somewhat limited success. I think some of the wood was wet. Okay, how about a quick tour of our loop before we go? Our neighbor with the Winnebago Via left earlier. This to the right here are some cabins that they have here. There's the lake back there, and another cabin. Check it out, you can barely see it, but there's an old classic Winnebago motorhome, and a very off-level site, and our site to the left here. It is time to continue our journey. Next up, probably Asheville, or so we hope at this point. I see mountains on the horizon, and that always gets me excited.
Pollution.
Yep, that's the Kingston fossil plant, coal burning, as we cross the Clench River. If you have a Good Sam membership, Pilot gas stations and truck stops are pretty much a no-brainer. You get pretty good discounts on gas and all other products. And we've never been to a Crystal, so let's check it out.
We're gonna head to this place called Crystal. Never been here.
It is indeed very similar to White Castle.
The best part? We have a view of Minitini.
We passed by Knoxville. In an early version of our travel plan, we were going to stop here too. We start seeing the different shades that give the Smoky Mountains their name.
Welcome to North Carolina.
I'm riding with my RV, wherever I want to be, because I'm free in my RV. Yeah, I'm riding with my RV, wherever I want to be, because I'm free in my RV. Yeah, I'm riding with
And we have arrived. Beautiful place, this KOA.
We are staying here at the Asheville East KOA, very conveniently located. Since it is on the way, first we're gonna pass by the Blue Ridge Parkway Visitors Center to get some information, since we want to do a section of the road later on.
America's favorite drive.
The Visitor Center, by the way, is actually very nice. Lots of information about the road, the wildlife, the history.
These are glorious days that shall never be forgotten.
And they have this really high-tech map here in the back, in which the screen is like an augmented reality magnifying lens with multimedia. Very cool.
Where is it? The Billboard. That's where we're going tomorrow. This is the Asheville area. They probably spent a lot of money on this.
Next, we passed by the Biltmore Village on the way to downtown. Let's check it out.
Historic Biltmore Village.
Nowadays, it is an upscale shopping area with the historic theme, although the historic aspect is apparently very real. This was originally designed as a planned community for workers of the Biltmore estate. Very nice, very luxurious. Apparently, it is inspired by a European hunting lodge. Here's the valet parking area.
Yeah, very fancy.
The Biltmore estate is that way, but we are going tomorrow. Well, enough of the Grand Bohemian. Let's continue.
Fancy shops.
If they had like normal size cookies, we would have gotten one for sure, but all the pastries are huge and we are saving our appetite for dinner later. We really came for the coffee. We continue towards downtown. We park here near the Pinball Museum and the Grove Arcade. Today, however, we are not going to visit the Pinball Museum, but the Grove Arcade is supposed to be one of Asheville's architectural jewels dating back to the late 1920s. It kind of reminds me of the covered passages in Paris.
It's on a downward slope going down. And you can go to the upper floors.
An old-fashioned bookstore. Yep, definitely there is a French, or at least a very European vibe going on here, for sure.
Yeah, book exchange.
All these tables here, originally we thought would be very convenient to set down your drink or your champagne glass. But there are vendors, apparently, that set up shop here. Amazing pub cycle, but I don't get the point of pedaling while getting drunk. I don't know. Maybe we'll stop at one of these places later. But first, we want to explore a little more. We are walking towards this building here called the Flatiron, which is kind of reminiscent of the one in New York. Well, there you go. Found a safe space. Yeah, it is a very cool neighborhood. Lots of cafes all over the place. Here's the famous iron sculpture in front of the aforementioned Flatiron building. I hear music.
Come on in here, you all. Way down the levee, sailing through the middle of the night. You can see those steamboats in.
Yep, these guys are pretty good. Papa Bay Landers. I was reading the lead singer Vadon Landers has studied American folk styles such as old time, country, blues, Cajun, jug. Yeah, these guys are the real deal, not your run-of-the-mill street musicians. And I looked them up, and they are booked solid pretty much every week at different venues in the area. Yeah, I want to go see them the next time I'm around here, for sure. The banjo could use a little bit of tuning, in my opinion, but that's okay.
Well, I went back to see my baby and met her home away. I told her I had to leave her. I told her I could not stay. Well, I'm going to Carolina where the grass is green.
Oh yeah, I love this music. I'm fascinated, actually.
Carolina, it sure is your born. Hold on, Carolina, run away the love you say. Play a
We continue walking.
Well, I'm going to Mississippi where the grass is green. Women all up and let my ball train. I'm going back to Carolina.
The Thomas Wolfe Auditorium, which is home of the Asheville Symphony Orchestra. The Basilica of St. Lawrence, very famous, built in 1905. Wasn't that a wonderful musical interlude? Well, we're going back to the Grove Arcade. We saw this place that had $4 happy hour wine special. And this here seems to be some kind of communal garden. Pretty cool. We're getting close. Here we are. Very local atmosphere. The bartender actually seems to know everybody.
Thursday, $4 house wine. And there's the Basilica. And here's Kia. Let's go. Hey, las palomitas, get out of the way.
The obelisk in the distance is the Vance Memorial.
Okay, Hollywood Street. In 0.2 miles.
No, it's Hollywood Street.
Oh, Haywood.
Turn right onto Biltmore Avenue, then your destination will be on the right.
What is this?
We're going to this other area of downtown by Biltmore Avenue, actually also called Broadway in this segment, and we are looking for parking. And here it is again, the Vance Memorial, which honors Zebulon Baird Vance. Since Vance owned slaves and he was a Confederate colonel during the Civil War, This is one of those Confederate monuments that may not be here much longer. It is sort of on that list of offensive monuments to be removed. And here we have more street musicians. Very musical city from what I can tell so far. We've also got a juggler. This area east of where the memorial is located is called Pack Square. Located at the intersection of ancient trading paths, it is supposed to be the symbolic center of Asheville. Here's also Pack Square, looking towards the courthouse and the mayor's office. Asheville's first skyscraper, the Jackson Building, dating back to 1924.
Okay, let's go eat.
Yep, definitely a very musical city. Could stand here for hours, but we're getting really hungry now. Maybe we should have had that cookie earlier. We actually have this tapas place in mind.
You wanna cure yourself? Let's go to Curate. Never mind, that was a 2-hour wait time, so next time we're in Asheville.
Well, instead of the 2-hour wait at Curate, we are going to go to this other place called the Blackbird. We begin with the bottle of wine because that's how we roll. You know, an Italian Barbera di Alba, a very nice bread, and very small portions.
The chicken and the tenderloin.
And the cake?
Coconut cake.
We definitely should have had that cookie.
Good morning. From the Asheville East, KOA.
Very peaceful in the morning here with the fog-covered lake. Today we plan to visit the Biltmore, which is pretty much the main tourist attraction here in Asheville. It was built by George Vanderbilt with architect Richard Morris Hunt and landscape artist Frederick Law Olmsted. And it is an 8,000-acre estate, very large, with the largest privately owned home in the whole United States. Good morning to you too. The ducks, they come visit the campers in the morning. Yeah, this one came for leftovers.
Yeah, that train woke us up all night. They ran like 3 times last night.
Yeah, I wonder if it is a requirement that they build campgrounds right next to railroads. You know what I mean.
It is a beautiful campground, though. Now we're going to go see the Biltmore.
Well, enough ducking around. Let's go. After getting the tickets, we have to drive to a parking lot. And from there, they shuttle us the rest of the way to the Biltmore house.
43 bathrooms, but you won't be able to use any of those. On the right-hand side of the house, you'll find the stable area, consisting of the stable cafe, public restrooms, retail shops, here at the house. You'll go back to your vehicle. It'll be a 4-mile drive to Antler Hill Village and the winery.
Did he say winery? Okay, here we are. We begin at the Winter Garden. Next, wow, the banquet hall. 7-story high ceilings and the pipe organ. And the small table by the fireplace for when it is just the 4 of them. And here's the breakfast room. And the salon, which is kind of like a French-style sitting area. With a view of the Blue Ridge Mountains. By the way, they said no video camera, so I'm just using my phone. And here's what they call the music room. Wow, this covered room balcony area is called the loggia. Very nice. And here's the library. There are like 10,000 books in here, about half of Vanderbilt's collection. And here, the tapestry gallery. Flemish tapestries from the 1530s. Up the stairs we go, and even the stairs are impressive in this place. The second-floor living room has the peculiarity of having paintings of both the architect and landscape artist I mentioned earlier. This is Mr. Vanderbilt's bedroom here, walk-in closet and all. Bathtub. The oak sitting room, apparently where the Vanderbilts had breakfast. And the next, Mrs. Vanderbilt's room. The third-floor living hall was for the guests of the house, since the guests' rooms are nearby.
Guest bedrooms.
This is one of the guest bedrooms. There are 33 guest rooms and 43 bathrooms, which is an incredible luxury for 1895. A private tour perhaps? Now, down to the basement. This is called the stone hallway, the foundation of the house. And that's the bowling alley. The indoor heated swimming pool with underwater lighting. There was an elevator, for the food of course, and a refrigerator back then. Servants' dining room, not too shabby. And the laundry room. Last but not least, we go to the bachelor's wing with the billiard room, the smoking room,
The gun room.
Okay, let's head outdoors and see the gardens. We are not going to see the whole thing because, to be honest, it is hot and we haven't even had breakfast yet. so we'll be brief. But first, a couple of pictures here in front of the building are in order, right? It is magnificent. It looks like they are getting ready for a concert. We are going to begin here at the Italian Garden. This other area is called the Shrub Garden. And here's the Walled Garden. Finally, the Rose Garden. Let's enter the conservatory. Well, it is time to go. Let's go to the winery.
And I'm going to be your driver at the parking lot C.
Tavern.
The story goes that Cedric was a Saint Bernard, the first one of many to live in the Biltmore house. This we're eating is called the Plowman's Board.
These are called Scottish eggs. Scotch eggs.
Well, that certainly hit the right spot. Now, we're ready for the winery. This outside is a sculpture of Cedric and Vanderbilt's daughter Cornelia.
This is the winery.
Very pretty, this entrance. They have some barrels here, and this is probably the good stuff, although I have a feeling it's all ornamental.
This is the good stuff.
Wine library. I wonder if that's where Gary got the idea.
Bistro, no? Oh, mira, they have like outdoor. And that's the wine that we're gonna buy for a lot of money.
This right here is the store. There's a little bit of a line, but soon enough, we are tasting wines. And then, some bubbly at the wine bar, why not? Chatting with the couple we just met. And more charcuterie. Yeah, good times.
Yeah, this campsite was very nice until we got neighbors.
And I don't mean the ducks. That guy fishing was right on top of us until a minute ago, until I snapped at him after he got me wet. And then they moved, but they were practically leaning on our table. Let's go drive on the Blue Ridge Parkway. Well, it is the weekend, so the campground is packed.
French Broad Overlook.
Which overlooks, oddly enough, the French Broad River. Apparently the river was broad, and some Frenchmen named it. Who would have thunk it, huh? Come on, yeah, you can do it. Here I slow down to catch the view. This is not something I would encourage. Yeah, apparently I am going to stop at every single overlook. We continue. We continue, gradually going up in elevation, and the views become more striking every single time. We keep stopping at all these overlooks, one more gorgeous than the next. We're going to skip this next overlook, otherwise we'll never make it. Well, make it where? I don't know, because we don't have any real plans, but actually the only plan really is to return once it gets dark. We keep gaining elevation. Yes, the sun is about to set. We're running out of time.
Check it out, this side.
Yep, this overlook has views on both sides of the road. We want to continue a little further and check out the nearby Mount Pisgah campground. Maybe come with Minitini the trailer some other time. If this guy can do it, so can we. Going up into the clouds, following the slow-moving trailer. Hey, that could be us, struggling with the steep grade. Here we are, Mount Pisgah. There's our friend. Actually, I think we should get back. It is getting dark. Back to the campground. Hopefully, it will be quieter at this time. Gosh, I'm starting to sound like an old man. Good morning, once again from the Asheville East KOA. It is time to hit the road. Okay, this is one of those examples, one of those moments of why you should never follow the GPS blindly, especially while towing or driving an RV. Some of these roads we are about to hit can be a little scary, and a little narrow, and a little steep. Beautiful drive though. Hello there, burro. I really don't think these back roads here are RV friendly. This is North Carolina State Route 9, or NC9 on the map, from Black Mountain to Chimney Rock. Yeah, very windy road. Are you all dizzy yet? At some point, I decide to pull over, let people pass. I am going painfully slow on these switchbacks. To the right, I don't know if you can see it, but that's the Broad River, which doesn't look very broad, does it? As we arrive here at the community of Bat Cave. This whole town seems to be like the gateway to the place where we are going, Chimney Rock State Park. The Broad River, still here to our right. Here, also to the right, is the Hickory Nut Falls Campground, the place where we wanted to stay originally, before we decided to make this day trip. Here we are. Pretty narrow entrance for an RV if you ask me, but I have been assured that there is RV parking. Well, I'm glad there's not a whole lot of traffic coming down this early. Can you imagine doing this with a long Class A motorhome? Well, I won't bore you with the rest. Here we are. We are instructed to park at this area called the Meadows, which is a little further up. I wonder where we should park though, but there's no one to ask. Okay, let's do this. Let's park right here, because it is always a good idea to have an exit, just in case someone decides to block us. From here, a shuttle takes us all the way up to the trailheads.
First time at the car?
Yeah, it is a pretty long way up. Here we are. I think the idea is to go all the way up there to that towering thing that's called the Chimney Rock. There's the Broad River, looking a little broader. Actually, it is a dam, Lake Lure. And at first, I thought that was where we parked down there, but nah, it is not. I can only imagine how much nicer the view is going to be from the top. We begin our trek to the top, counterintuitively by first going down. The first part is called the Outcroppings Trail.
It's a long way.
We encounter a fork on the road. Should we go to the Vista Rock first? Or should we do the Grotto and Subway? Yeah, we decide to go right.
This is called the Grotto. And the good thing is they have a bench here where you can sit down and take a break and enjoy the scenery.
And the scenery is quite pleasant to look at.
What they mean by low clearance.
This is why they call it the Subway. Yeah, I can see why.
Yeah. I don't know, baby, if we're gonna make it. Yeah. Si te resbalas, agárrate de mí.
Yeah, fine.
Okay. Yeah, so that's what they meant by low clearance. That's why it's called the Subway. This is beautiful.
Okay, let's go see the view from the Pulpit Rock. That down there, that's the Chimney Rock Village. And Lake Lure to the east. Down there, the meadows where we parked. And we still got a bit to climb.
Oh, Walgreens owns... No, Dwayne Reed owns Walgreens?
Yes, we've made it to the top. Elevation 2280.
Well, we've made it to the Chimney Rock. I don't think we're gonna go to the higher point. But the view from here is fantastic. Look at that. Check it out. And up here, there's another trail that goes even up higher, but we're not gonna take it.
Actually, we might go up to that balcony.
There's a line to go into the park now. It's very nice. Let's go down. The Sky Lounge is closed due to renovations. But over here, we can see where we were. Right up there. Up and up we go. We continue going up. We're gonna try to make it all the way up to this balcony that is called the Opera Box. This is the Opera Box. It's always easier on the way down. Do not throw rocks. There are people with them. Oh, but they are. Yeah, eating. Maybe we should get a sandwich.
Actually, anything will do. We skipped breakfast again.
Yeah, we did. We came through here.
Yeah.
A lot of construction going on. Can you hear it?
Cliff dwellers. Like the ancient Pueblo people. Sauerkraut. Tamales. And this view. Technically, we would go down those stairs, but if there is construction, we have to go all the way around. It's nature.
By the way, the food was really good. Very satisfied.
There you go. Little trailer. That's our shuttle. But right now, we're going to do the Hickory Nut Falls Trail coming up ahead.
1.4 miles round trip. Yeah, we can do that. By the way, this area was one of the filming locations for the 1992 movie The Last of the Mohicans.
Yeah. Maybe they'll rebuild it. I don't hear water yet. I hear water somewhere. Ooh, it's a long way down. This stairs definitely not OSHA approved, but check it out. Fantastic view. Then it goes all the way down there. Well, definitely worth the hike. Hickory Nut Falls. It's a little bit of a strenuous hike, but not bad. It's up and down, but we made it. Yeah, definitely gonna call the park so they cut down that tree so we can see them. I'm just kidding, guys, just kidding. Okay, so we came from the waterfall and we discovered that there's this other trail that goes to the meadows where we're parked. So we're gonna try to do that. That way we don't have to wait for the shuttle.
Well, this is called the Four Seasons Trail, 0.6 miles. And it is classified as strenuous, but that would be coming up. We are taking it mostly downhill.
It's a long way down. It's a little more rough than I expected. It's not bad, guys. We're becoming hikers. The average camper's adventures will be proud. Ah, okay. I should look forward instead of downward. It's like we're going down to the center of the earth. Down and down and down and down and down and down.
Yeah, I think I might be losing my mind. Of all the things I've lost.
Down and down we go. Do be careful. This is what's left of the falls. It's just a trickle of water. I wonder what that is.
Surveillance camera, I bet. By the way, there is no evidence whatsoever that this is actually runoff from the falls or whether that was a surveillance camera. Totally unsubstantiated.
Almost there. The final stretch at the end of the trail. I see cars. Success. I see Minitini. You see it?
No.
Well, we feel accomplished and very tired. We might not be able to walk tomorrow.
I hope they didn't block us off. That's what we did. Success. Let's go.
We're back on the narrow, perilous two-lane road. Yeah, the only difference is that now it's early afternoon and there's a lot more oncoming traffic. You see? Pretty dangerous. Here's the Chimney Rock Village. To the left here you will see Lake Lure Flower and Bridge. And this here, Lake Lure. And there's even a little beach. Yeah, very nice. We've gotta return here sometime. And what's up with all these nicely dressed people? I won't actually put you through the whole uneventful long drive. I mean, unless you want me to. The drive from Chimney Rock all the way to our campground near Charlotte, which is actually in Fort Mill, South Carolina. And yes, there is a Publix. It's the little things, guys. And here we are, the Fort Mill KOA. The registration, oddly enough, and the store are at this Valero gas station. Let's look for our site here. The campground, it seems decent enough. Our site, in theory, it is a backing site, but since there is no one behind us, they told me I could just pull through. Pretty cool. And pretty level too, actually, very important. Did I mention there is a bar right next to the gas station called John's Place? I mean, sure, let's partake, why not? Nothing like a live rock band and a scotch on the rocks or two to brighten your day or your night. Or just relax after a long day. On the next day, my wife, Illy, had to fly back to Miami. By the way, at the airport, I discovered this park called the CLT Airport Overlook. Look it up. What a great idea! Every airport should have something like this. I mean, I love seeing the planes take off. Wonder where they're headed. Well, at some point during the trip, you have to do laundry. Sometimes, several times. I also hang out at the pool a little bit. And yeah, the camera fell on its side. At around noon, a fellow blogger and YouTuber Brian Wood of the RVing Illustrated shows up.
Who is it? Stranger alert. What's up?
Hey.
Hey.
Hey Brian, how are you?
All right,
welcome
man.
to our humble home.
Hey. It's like MTV Cribs, huh?
Yeah.
After chatting a little bit, we go for a ride around Charlotte.
Well, hello everybody. Today we're hanging out with Brian Wood, the RVing Illustrated.
Hey guys.
Entering North Carolina, here to the left there's an amusement park called Carowinds, which actually straddles the state line, so their slogan is where the Carolinas come together. And check out that cell phone tower, pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
We are approaching the city from the southeast on Providence Road, also known as North Carolina 16. Seems to be a pretty nice, somewhat ritzy neighborhood. Here, Providence becomes Queens Road. And here, it becomes East Moorhead Street as we approach the Carolinas Medical Center. We approach downtown, and since I first saw it yesterday from the airport, I thought that building, the Duke Energy Center, looks like a large bottle opener. What do you think? We continue on East Moorhead Street. Here's the Bank of America football stadium, home to the Carolina Panthers. There's my bottle opener again. Downtown Charlotte's proper name is actually City Center, and the locals call it Uptown. Here to the left, coming up, is the BB&T Ballpark, home to the Charlotte Knights, a AAA minor league team. The tall building is the Bank of America Corporate Center, tallest building in the city and in the state. Here's the historic Old Settlers Cemetery. as we turn right onto 5th Street. The Performing Arts Center, which encompasses a bunch of theaters. There's the Spectrum Center, home to the NBA Bobcats, as we continue exploring downtown. Here's NASCAR's Hall of Fame, a location originally contested with Atlanta and Daytona Beach. It honors NASCAR's skillful drivers and crews and the owners. History goes that while Daytona Beach was the place to break speed records, stock car racing really began during Prohibition, when drivers souped up their cars to run bootleg whiskey from the Appalachians just north of here. And, well, the rest is history. This sculpture here called the Firebird adorns the entrance of the Museum of Modern Art. Pretty lively downtown, actually. Here we are at what is called Independence Square, on the corner of Trade and Tryon. The intersection is actually the intersection of a Native American trading path and the Great Wagon Road of yesteryears. And it is the heart of Uptown. We continue on Tryon Street, passing by the University of North Carolina, and eventually we end up by the Charlotte Motor Speedway, the home track of NASCAR, the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing. There's also the ZMAX Dragway for drag racing, which is a quarter-mile drag racing strip, part of the whole Speedway complex. As we approach Mooresville, we pass by Dale Earnhardt Inc., the company founded by Dale Earnhardt, considered one of the best drivers of all time, and apparently a legend around here. He is buried at a mausoleum in the back of the property. And here we are at the picturesque downtown Mooresville, known as Race City, USA, because it is home to so many NASCAR teams and drivers. There's an area here just west of downtown Mooresville where all the engine builders and parts stores, suspensions, pretty much everything related to the car racing industry, they're all here. Next, we're gonna go to this very ritzy residential area called The Point, which is a peninsula on Lake Norman, and it is home to many NASCAR drivers and Charlotte bankers, doctors, businessmen, attorneys, the rich and the famous. Home prices, ranging from a few $100,000 to several $1 million for some of the lakefront properties. And you're not gonna believe who has a golf course here. Lake Norman here is the largest man-made lake in North Carolina, created by Cowan's Ford Dam by Duke Energy. It is fed by the Catawba River. For lunch, we go to this place in Mooresville called the Barcelona.
That is pretty cool.
It is. Hey, what'd you do?
So this is the Barcelona.
Yeah, Barcelona. In North Carolina.
Foothills Jade North Carolina IPA.
Good beer, good company, and a juicy burger.
Getting burgers. Well, I just realized I am almost leaving, and I never showed you this KOA, which is not bad. It's here south of Charleston. It's actually in South Carolina. That's the laundry room over there. And they have these nice cabins. Then on the other side, you have all these campsites. This was mostly empty. And then by the entrance, there's a gas station and there's a Publix.
Darn, forgot to put my towing mirrors again. This giant baseball here to the left is actually a water tower. By the way, this here is I-77 South. Next destination, South Carolina's capital, Columbia. But before we do that, Minitini and Kia are filthy. And I've heard that you can sometimes use these truck wash places like a Blue Beacon. I guess the entrance is here through the back. Not the best detailing job I've ever seen, but it'll do. Now, let's go downtown. I'm not even gonna attempt to park here. I just wanna see the State House and whatever else I stumble upon. This building here to the left with the golden domes is a Greek Orthodox church. This one here also to the left, Presbyterian church. And here we are, the South Carolina State House, finished in 1907 after a long hiatus when construction stopped during the Civil War. I need to make a U-turn here at some point. Let me see if I can turn around here at the New Ebenezer Baptist Church. Did you hear that? Yeah, I think I bottomed out. I better check it out. It looks okay, but let me try to park and take another look. Yep, it looks like we are going to make it to Charleston after all. This building to the right is the Supreme Court of South Carolina. Here, to the left, in front of the State House, is the Confederate Soldier Monument. You know, that's the one that had the Confederate flag that got removed back in 2015. Moving right along, let's continue towards Charleston. At the rest area, I reheat some fried chicken that I bought at the Fort Mill Publix. I love Publix fried chicken.
Well, coffee machine has espresso. Looks pretty good.
Charleston, here I come. This is the final stretch. I arrive, of course, during rush hour traffic. I'm staying at James Island County Park. By the way, James Island is beautiful with all these oak trees. Here we are. Pretty nice, huh? This is where Paul and Lorena of the Motorhome Experiment YouTube channel stayed when they were here, and they sounded impressed with the campground. Let me show you my loop here. Not the easiest task to back in all by myself, but I manage.
This is the James Island County Park. I have arrived here. Very close to Charleston, South Carolina. Not the most leveled of sites, but it'll work. Definitely not very level, and I even put
all the levelers I had.
It looks like it rained last night, as you can see.
All week, according to the park host. Check these guys out. I feel like I'm in Florida. Before it gets dark, I want to go to see this famous tree nearby called the Angel Oak. Here it is, through this dirt road. And I believe the park is closed, but we can see it from the outside, right?
This is the famous Angel Oak. Let me show it to you just in case I cannot come tomorrow. That is a pretty cool tree, right?
Good morning from James Island County Park. Before we visit this beautiful city of Charleston, let's enjoy a morning stroll around this beautiful park. Okay, let's drive to Charleston. The first thing we're going to do today is visit Fort Sumter, and the first ferry departs at 9, and I'm running late. I think we're going to make it in the nick of time. Let's park here at the aquarium parking lot. I really hope I can make it on time. It is almost 9. This is Liberty Square.
The aquarium, and this is the Fort Sumter National Monument.
Inside, they have this museum, but I have to rush through in order to make it to the ferry.
That's the boat.
There's this sitting area, and there is the famous Arthur Ravenel Bridge. But as soon as the ferry departs, I am going to the upper deck, get a better view.
Concerned to protect the sensitive ecosystem of the Charleston Harbor for the convenience of all our guests. Smoking is prohibited on all Fort Sumter tour vessels.
We finally depart, and there's the Carnival Ecstasy. I actually went on a cruise on that ship back in the early 90s when it was brand new. They have this bar here on the lower deck, but there's no one here. There's the old Custom House, one of the most famous buildings here in Charleston, and there's the USS Yorktown. The small fort in the middle of the harbor is Castle Pinckney. Here we see it with Fort Sumter in the background. See all those church spires or steeples? Well, Charleston is also called the Holy City because of the great number of churches of different denominations in the city. We're almost there. The palmetto, the symbol of South Carolina. Fly, pelican! Well, here we are. Fort Sumter was of great significance during the American Civil War, as the first battle was fought right here. That's a good trip. We get a very detailed explanation of all the events that transpired here. We are free to roam around, explore every nook and cranny. They're gonna raise the flag now.
We talked about it a little bit, but it plays a big role in what the U.S. government in Washington feel about this. The attitude is you're not getting anything. Federal property should remain federal property, but how can they...
There's Charleston in the distance, and the sandbar to the west. Since we are the first tour of the day, we have the honor to witness and some to participate in the raising of the flag ceremony. This is the good gun, the big one. They have all these exhibits outside with the different cannons and the historic context. And here's looking towards the sandbar. There is a small museum inside where they give you a more detailed history, and they have all these artifacts. And there is the flag that flew in Fort Sumter during the bombardment on April 1861. That's the flag. I guess these are all the flags that have flown here over the years.
there, under the hatch. This was a very nice visit here, Fort Sumter. $21, very informative. You know, the National Park Service, everything is new. Like the speakers on the boat were super clear, so we could understand everything. You know, it is very well maintained here, and there's a lot of history that I didn't know actually. Especially the Civil War started here. That I didn't know. Of course, the wind picks up exactly at the moment where I start recording the video. Anyways, we're gonna continue exploring Charleston now, and that's Charleston down there. I don't know if you can see it because of the wide angle, but yeah, that's where we're going next. We'll head back on the boat in about 5 minutes. Actually, I think they're leaving without me. They're leaving without me. Oh, there he is. He's gotta make sure everybody gets off the island. 3 miles away.
Going back to the mainland. Once again, there's the USS Yorktown of World War II glory. One of its final missions, the recovery of the Apollo 8 command module on December of 1968. The bridge, of course, the Arthur Ravenel, opened in 2005, and it has a pedestrian and a bike lane. We'll cross it later for sure. And here's another close-up of the Yorktown. We're not gonna have time to visit it today, unfortunately, but it's on the list. And we are back, and we see dolphins. The next victims?
Let's go find something to eat.
Yes, I am starving. I skipped breakfast again.
That's where we came from. This is Liberty Park.
It is actually called Liberty Square, and it is a nice park here by the aquarium and the ferry terminal.
Actually called Liberty Square.
Now let's go find parking near downtown. Finding parking has proved challenging. There is this meter, but it is only for half an hour, so...
Found parking on the top floor. At least we have a view.
This is the Cumberland Garage.
Okay, let's explore. This is where I parked. $1 per half an hour, but it is what it is. Downtown. Okay, here we are, East Bay Street. Customs house. We'll go there later. This is one of the main historic streets here.
There's Magnolia's, the restaurant where we ate the last time we were here. There's also Blossom, but my plan is to go to the Lagunitas Tap Room and Beer Sanctuary, but I can't find it. Let me walk around a little bit, see if I can find a place that is not very formal, more like a bar since I am by myself here. This fountain here is at Waterfront Park, from where you can see, once again, Castle Pinckney and Fort Sumter. I finally make up my mind and go for this deserted French bistro. Spectacular turkey club sandwich that I washed down with an ice-cold beer. Much better now.
Well, Lagunitas apparently shut down, but I ate at this place called East Bay Meeting House.
Well, let's explore one of the most picturesque cities in the United States of America. Apparently, there were slave auctions all along this street. Here's a historic building from the 1700s called the Old Exchange and Provost Dungeon. The building has served many functions over the years. It was even a jail during the Revolutionary War. And here's looking west on Broad Street towards the St. Michael Church. We'll go there later. Now we are approaching a city block called Rainbow Row, and let's hear the explanation from this fine city guide.
Brighten up the area, and then in the 1950s, a photographer from Time magazine visited Charleston, took a picture of these homes, and captioned his photo a beautiful Rainbow Row. That's how they get their name.
Well, there you go. Now you know where the name Rainbow Row comes from.
The famous Rainbow Row back there. Gotta walk a little bit on this street. This is very, very picturesque.
Here we are by Adger's Wharf, at the southern end of Waterfront Park. Nice area for a picnic here. I originally thought that these plaques on all the houses with the year meant that the house dated back to like 1670, but they all have the same year, so no. It is just the year of the founding of the city, and the plaque is just an award given to property owners who have preserved their historic homes. Here, East Bay Street becomes East Battery, with this promenade and all the antebellum homes. Some of these homes are bed and breakfasts. Some, like this one, are museums. I've seen that C-17 plane flying around a couple of times today. By the way, this is the Roper House, which you can also tour. Dating back to 1838, it originally belonged to Robert Roper, a prominent cotton planter. We are reaching the end, and this park here is called White Point Garden. Here's a statue of General William Moultrie, twice Governor of South Carolina. Beautiful park. This is a monument dedicated to the defenders of Fort Moultrie.
Oh, I think I want to take a break.
And there goes another military plane. Nearby here, a Joint Base Charleston shares runways with Charleston International Airport. At the southern tip of Charleston stands this other monument to the Confederate defenders of Charleston, installed in 1932 by the United Daughters of the Confederacy. Here's the famous bandstand, but it's not used for concerts anymore because the neighbors complained about the noise. Well, I've taken my break here at the park. Now let's continue exploring. I'm just going to walk back north here on Meeting Street. This here is actually a B&B. It would be pretty cool to stay at an 1892 mansion here. This here is the Calhoun Mansion, the largest single-family residence in all of Charleston. And they do have tours, but I'm not in the touring mood. I mean, I am tempted to go in. It looks like it is beautiful inside, but nah. Not everything is restored here. This one here seems to be in a little bit of disrepair.
First Presbyterian Church. It looks like they've got a delivery. Let's see the cemetery next to the church. All the important people are buried here. I bet you. I know it is probably rude to be peeking into a private residence, but the pretty garden caught my attention. And this one too. They're selling something here. Here's the recently renamed Judicial Center. These are sweetgrass baskets, weaved by Gola artisans, being sold right here in front of St. Michael's Church, built in the 1760s. This one also has a rather large cemetery inside the property. I wonder how all these people would feel if they knew that their final resting place has become a tourist attraction. Very thin gravestones. More sweetgrass baskets at this intersection called the Four Corners of Law. That's City Hall right there. Let's continue exploring. The Cathedral of St. John the Baptist in the distance. This pretty park here is Washington Square. Beautiful oak trees. I'm assuming this is Lord George himself. That is a fenestrone right in front of the Hibernian Hall. And here, another church. I can see why they call it the Holy City. This is the Circular Congregational Church. Of course, there is a large cemetery in the back. Let's go to that one next. They have some kind of artillery museum inside. Another time, perhaps. Here we are, St. Philip's Church, the state's oldest congregation. And it is quite an imposing structure. In this one, the cemetery is actually across the street. It is open to visitors. Let's step inside. They let you see the church in exchange for, a voluntary donation. This is, by the way, an Episcopal church, the current building, dating back to 1836, although the spire wasn't finished until 1850. You do have to open these doors in order to sit down for service. It is 3 p.m.
This one has the largest graveyard of all the other churches I've seen today. And the largest mausoleums too.
The oak tree.
There's Calhoun, the one with the largest house. Well, there you have it. Lots of important people interred here.
All the important people over here.
I am hot and thirsty. And guess what I found? A bar! That's not a Bud Light, by the way. You know I like my IPA. It rhymes.
Well, apparently it's a huge pub, just a slow time of the day. All I needed was a little bit of pick me up, and now we continue towards the market, just this way, I think. What can I tell you guys? I'm exhausted. I did a run this morning at the campground, and then we did the Fort Sumner, and now I've been at this for over 3 hours. So just walking around, exploring the city. But we have one more thing to see before we go, and it's right here. Check it out, the city market. I'm gonna go all the way to the end and walk you through. Everybody gets freaked out by this little camera, I don't know why. Anyways, let me show you where we are. That's it. Right there, that's the entrance, the main entrance to it's called the city market. I think the cruise ship is about to leave, but here we have the market. Let's go in.
Okay, get ready. For the next minute and a half, I am going to show you the market. The whole market, all 4 city blocks. This market, by the way, was established here in the 1790s. Of course, it burned down and had to be rebuilt. Probably several times.
That was the city market in a nutshell.
I'm gonna start walking back to the car. I think we've seen enough for one day, but hey, there's the old United States Custom House building, right here, by the market.
Here it is from another angle. And there's the cruise ship. I remember when that ship was brand new. Well, in hindsight, maybe I should have used one of these bikes instead of walking. Carmelas, this place is supposed to be really good. I didn't catch the music. Well, the cruise is still here, but most importantly, Kia's still here.
Well, saying goodbye to downtown Charleston. For now, we're not leaving yet. You know, I wanted to walk across the Arthur Ravenel Bridge, but I'm not going to do that. At least I am going to drive on it. Here we go, fasten your seatbelts. It opened, as I said, in 2005, and it is the 3rd longest bridge of its kind in the Western Hemisphere. And it is wide, 8 lanes wide. On the other side is Mount Pleasant. And I want to see this park that has a pier here. Maybe see the view.
There's the famous bridge.
This is the Mount Pleasant War Memorial, right here in Mount Pleasant Memorial Park. But the real reason I came here was to see the bridge from underneath and to walk on the pier. This is very cool, this place here. Great views, and I would love to continue exploring, but I'm tired. The day is coming to an end soon. Before we call it a night, I am going to have dinner with a viewer. We are going to meet at this barbecue place called Swig and Swine.
You've arrived.
Okay, here we are at Swig and Swine, and we're about to eat. Here's John Langman, a viewer of the channel. Well, the light is not very good, but we're gonna eat now, so I'll let you know how it is.
In the morning, I depart. Very tempted to drive straight to Miami in one go. Google says it's only like 8 hours. You see the challenges we sometimes have on the road when we have to put gas.
Must be love bug season. They just appeared and they're all over the place. Let's get back.
You know what? I am going to drive all the way back to Miami today. How hard could it be? I just have to drive through Georgia, into Florida, through Jacksonville at rush hour, way into the dark night. If you have enjoyed traveling with us, make sure you are subscribed and check out my other videos. Also, share it with your friends, spread the word, and leave me a comment. Now, if you really liked it, you have a chance to show your support at patreon.com/travelingrobert. As always, thank you so much for watching and see you on the road.